Sports fans, PB&Z, Sports Chaos, we're back once again. The weekend of June 28th, we get some sports news for you. And PB, once again, is going to give you his predictions week by week of the NFC North. By the way, PB&Z Sports Chaos, subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Facebook. PB asked me, 9-20, what's that mean? He's got the Cardinals and the Dolphins win 20 games. I say they win only 9. That's what we got going on the PB&Z. Thank you, my daughter Nicole, for this thing. All right, let's get right to this. I got a little 2-minute drill. Sports has been going on. Apparently, according to one of our loyal followers, Joe McLovin, Ruffin, says, you guys don't give NASCAR and the UFC a lot of credibility. They've been going on for weeks. We get it. As PB says, NASCAR, the conversation just goes in circles, right? All right. Hey, by the way, a lot of stuff happened this week. Believe it or not, fans, I know there's no sports going on, but a lot of news. Baseball says they're back officially July 1st training camp. July 23rd is the first game to be played in a 60-game schedule. PB, I don't know about you. I happen to like this idea about a 60-game schedule. 162 may be done forever after this year. It's going to be a sprint from now on, not a marathon. You're going to be hot from day one on. It's a tournament, basically, right?
Yeah, I love it. I think it's going to be great.
Too, man.
It actually gives us – it's going to give the Sox probably a greater chance based on their makeup of their team to compete.
Yes, I agree. Hey, and by the way, NBA also announced they are starting up officially on July 30th. They got these 8 regular season games. Why? PB and I have been talking about this for weeks now. Just go right into the playoffs, have a tournament. But they're going to play 8 regular season games. So 8 teams go down there. They may never get to play any more than 8 games. They'll be all done by 8-14. Then they go right into the playoffs to end up on 10-13. We shall see. By the way, as I hyped on the preview show, I don't know, man. They already get 16 guys tested positive. There's only 12, 15 guys on a roster. If you get 4 or 5 guys that test positive, you're done. You can't play. So we'll see what happens, man. I don't know. And the NHL, they're going to start sometime around the 1st of August. We don't know officially yet. But as PB and I have been saying, they got that right. They did the right thing. Just have a tournament and get it over with. Move on, right?
Great.
All right. PB, I got a little thing for you. Golf has been going on for 3 weeks. I know you love to play golf. You watch it. I don't watch it. I like to play it, especially when I'm drinking beers. By the way, I do have a Moosehead today, celebrating old Canada with a Moosehead. This guy, Bryson DeChambeau, did he eat another player? How big did he get in the last 12 months? The guy's like a 50-pound heavier guy now, right? And he's 300-yard drives all day long. It's unbelievable. And they've been playing record-setting golf. Every weekend, it's a new record, it seems like. Guys are under par by 10, 20 strokes. I thought they were quarantining. I don't get it. How are they much better now? Is it because there's no fans in the audience? Who knows, right? Oh, man. All right. By the way, did you know Phil Mickelson? He was leading this tournament in the Travelers yesterday, but he had a bad round on Saturday. He just turned 50. I thought he's been playing golf for 50 years. He's only 50? Oh, my God. All right. Let's move on. I got NFL talk. I know what you're going to say. PB, you think the Green Bay Packers are going to win this division, right?
I do.
All right, let's get into it. NFC.
Yeah, I do have Green Bay winning. Here's the thing with the NFC North. Vegas does not have any team projected to win 10 games. Vegas has Minnesota at 9, Green Bay at 9, Chicago at 8, and Detroit at 6.5. So they have that division pretty bunched up in terms of under-over and the win totals. And I bet I think you can take to the bank.
I will. You know what? I looked at that schedule. I think Vegas might be right. Because they play a lot of tough road games outside of the division. Every one of those teams seems to have to travel to New Orleans, Tampa Bay, Indy, whatever.
Yeah.
So
yeah. They are playing the NFC South and the AFC South, both, right? In terms of division games, plus their swing games. So, but I thought they're over in Green Bay because if you go with 9, they would have to go 8-8 for you to lose that bet, right? 9 you'd push, and then 10 you're going to win. So I really like the over/under for Green Bay this year, especially what they've done last year with their defense. and I have that team going 12-4.
You do?
They also do have the easiest schedule in the NFC North as well this year. They open up on the road, though, at Minnesota. I think they'll drop that game, but then they'll win 4 straight after that. Detroit at home, at New Orleans. That'll be a big win for Green Bay to go into New Orleans and win. Atlanta at home, and then at Tampa Bay. Tough little stretch there, obviously minus Detroit, but I have them at 4-1 after those first 5 games. Then they go on the road to Houston. They drop that. They get Minnesota back home, and they win that one. But then they have to go on the road and play the 49ers right in the middle of the season. I have that as a loss, their 3rd loss of the year. Jacksonville at home should be a popcorn win, and then they go at Indy, and they lose. That's their 4th win. At this point in the season, they're only going to be 6-4. So I do have them, not a sure division winner playoff team after the first 10 games, sitting at 6-4. But I do have them winning out their final 6 games of the year.
Okay.
Chicago at home, Philly at home, at Detroit, Carolina at home, Tennessee at home, and at Chicago. So that would put them at 12-4 if they could pull off that 6-game winning streak to close out the season. Good enough to win the division, potentially vying for a first-round bye, too.
Wow. I got to agree. The Saints, Tampa, San Fran, and Indy all on the road are very losable games for those guys. And the Minnesota game, I agree with you, opening the season off, that's a loss. To me, I think those games are all losses. I think they're 5 losses right there. And then, believe it or not, I believe the Philly and Atlanta home games are going to be tough for them. They've got to win those 2 to get 11-5. If they don't, this is a 10-6 team, maybe 9-7 to what the experts say. So I'm surprised the Green Bay could be here or here. I don't see them 12.
Okay.
All right, what do you get next?
Next, I got the Minnesota Vikings right on target with their under-over of 9. I have them going 9-7. Despite the loss of Stephon Diggs, they did pick up in the first round. Justin Jefferson out of LSU, right, at wide receiver. Can he replace Diggs? Not sure. I also feel with Ezra Cleveland, they didn't take him until late in the 2nd round. I had him as a first-round pick as an offensive lineman out of Boise State. So a couple of good moves. I actually had them as my 2nd best performing draft. I had the Vikings.
Yes, I remember that.
I do like what they did, but they have a tough schedule this year. And I only have them winning 9 games. So Green Bay at home, they open up, they win that, but then they have to go on the road to Indy. They'll drop that, come back home, a tough game against Tennessee, but I have them winning that one. Then they have to go on the road to Houston and Seattle in back-to-back weeks, and I have them dropping both those games. So they start off 2-3. Atlanta at home, I think they can win that one. At Green Bay, I have that as a loss. Detroit at home. At Chicago, I got to give Chicago some games to win because I don't have them doing that well, and that's one of the wins I have. Chicago there. Then they have a 3-game home stretch where I have them win them all. Dallas at home, Carolina at home, Jacksonville at home. 3 wins. At Tampa, there's a loss. Chicago at home is a win. At New Orleans is a loss. And then at Detroit to finish off the season will be a game they'll have to win to get into the playoffs potentially at 9-7, if 9-7 can even get them in. But that's where I'm finishing is at 9-7.
I'm with you, man. I think they were 9-17, maybe 10-6. I agree. Those tough road games, Houston, Seattle, Tampa, and New Orleans, all on the road, tough games. Plus, the home game against the Cowboys will not be a picnic.
I'm sure it won't.
No. All right, man. I'm with you. All right. Who do you got next?
And then, as I said in my preview, I think we have 2 teams now in opposite directions. I mean, these 2 teams are going to struggle here. I really think so. I really do. Matt Patricia, my prediction is this is going to be his last year as the head coach of the Detroit Lions.
My question to you, will he be the defensive coordinator of the Patriots in 2021?
That might be a good fit for him. We'll see how it does this year. They had a great year last year without him, so we'll see. But I have Detroit at 3-13. Vegas has them at 6.5, so I have them underperforming that. Now you can imagine where I have the Bears at if I haven't mentioned the Bears yet.
I'm totally blown away right now. I'm totally blown away. Go ahead.
And I'm just going to give you their 3 wins. They're going to be open up at home with a win against Chicago. They're going to win in Jacksonville. And I have them as a surprise upset win at home against Houston. And that's their 3 wins. That's the only 3 wins I have on the board. They got at Green Bay, at Arizona, New Orleans at home, at Atlanta, Indy at home, at Minnesota. I have Washington at home as a loss. I had to give Washington a couple wins. That was one of the wins. At Carolina, another loss. At Chicago, another loss. Green Bay, at Tennessee, Tampa, and Minnesota. I just don't see this team winning football games. Even giving them 3 wins, I'm being generous. I would go 1-15.
I'm with you, 3-13 for sure. Wow. I mean, what I can't wait to hear is what do you think the Bears are going to do, though? Let's get right into this because I can't believe you're saying that Detroit's going to be better than the Bears?
Right. Yeah, and I have the Bears at 2-14.
Oh my!
Yeah. I have
PB's credibility is really going to be at stake this fall.
And I realized, Mitch Trubisky was a big gamble for that franchise, right?
Yes, they traded up for him. I mean, they moved up in the draft for him.
They moved up. They took him over Mahomes. They took him over Deshaun Watson. And I mean, think about that, right? And he hasn't panned out. He hasn't done much.
No.
They don't have the offensive weapons in place. The defense is average at best. And they have, somewhat of a tough schedule, right? Because they're playing the NFC and AFC South.
Right.
So I'm losing every game this year except a home win against Minnesota, which is a surprise there in and of itself, but they got to win something. And then I have them winning at home against Detroit. That's it. I have them losing every other game that they play this year.
So really, because I think their schedule a little bit favorable. I mean, their toughest games outside of the divisional games, they've got Atlanta, Rams, and Tennessee, and obviously those are on the road. But other than that, I don't think they have a real. I think they have a winnable schedule. I say these guys can go 8-8, maybe 9-7.
Wow, that's a bold prediction. And you know what? That's what Vegas has them at 8. I can't believe Vegas has Chicago at 8, and they have Minnesota and Green Bay at 9. They basically almost have those 3 teams as even.
Let's face this, though. The Bears, other than maybe Andy Dalton for the Cowboys, they probably have the best backup quarterback in Nick Foles, who won a Super Bowl as a backup.
Yeah, right.
So I know you're not a fan of Mitchell Trubisky. I'm not either. It was a bad move on their behalf. But when you got a guy like Foles sitting on the bench, he's a better player off the bench than as a starter, as we learned down in Jacksonville, right?
Yeah. Where's their offensive explosion? I mean, Tyreek Cohen is he the best offensive?
Yeah.
I mean,
no, you're right.
I know he's pretty versatile, but I mean, they just don't have the weapons, I don't think, to beat these kind of teams.
Good point, but they do have probably the best defense in that division.
Minnesota, every single draft pick they made outside of Ezra Cleveland and outside of Jefferson was a defensive player. I think they had 8 picks in the draft. 6 of them were defensive players.
Because they're desperate. Their defense is not good.
Well, that's what I mean. We'll see, right? That's to prove your point, but that could also help them. And Green Bay, let's not look at Green Bay's defense as being subpar by any means. I mean, last year they had a really good defense, as many people had predicted they were going to come, and they did. So I definitely better than Detroit's, but I would argue that Green Bay could have as good, if not better, defense than Chicago. And Minnesota could surprise a few people with their defense this year.
Yeah, no, you're right. I just think Chicago's defense, because they didn't lose much, and this year, the pandemic year, where you're not going to get a lot of bonding time together, the team that has the most unity going in is probably going to play better. And I just think defense is usually ahead of the offense. And so they're going to win ugly games. They're going to win 9-7 games like their record might be. That's the way it's going to be with Chicago.
Right.
All right, man.
Right.
What else you got? Anything else?
No, I mean, we have one division left in our analysis, and that is the AFC South. So next week we're going to take a look at Colts, Texans, Titans, and Jaguars and see what they have in store for the 2020 season.
All right, man. Hey, sports fans, PBNC, Sports Chaos. Follow us on Facebook. Subscribe to us on YouTube. You're going to like the show. We get better and better every week. Take care. Have a good one, PB. I'll talk to you later.
All right, brother.